Imposter Syndrome. Why you feel like a fraud, even when you're actually good enough. Part 1. When your mind refuses to believe your own success. Have you ever achieved something you genuinely worked hard for, and yet instead of feeling proud about it, you quietly thought, maybe I just got lucky. Maybe someone appreciates your work, and a strange voice inside you says, they probably do not know how average I really am. Maybe you got selected for an opportunity and instead of thinking, I earned this, you start thinking, soon they will realize they made a mistake. And this is one of the strangest experiences of the human mind. Your life can be giving you evidences that you are capable enough, while your mind keeps telling you that you are not. This experience is commonly called as the imposter syndrome. And the first thing we need to understand is that imposter syndrome does not mean you are actually an imposter. It means that you have difficulty accepting your own competence as real, the achievements as real, the praises as real, and the results as real, even though each of them are real. But somewhere inside you, you feel that the success belongs to circumstances, luck, timing, or other people, and not to you. Now let's try to make you understand with an example. Imagine a student who studies seriously for an examination and gets an excellent result. Everyone around her says, you worked hard, you deserve this, but she thinks the paper was easy. The next examinations come and she performs well again. Now she tells herself, maybe I was just lucky twice. Then she succeeds again, and instead of confidence growing, another fear appears. What if I can't do it next time? Notice what is happening. Her achievements are increasing, but her ability to accept those achievements is not. And she is not lacking evidences, but rather she is struggling to trust the evidences. Now let's talk about why this happens. One of the reasons is that we know our own backstage far better than anyone else's does. You know how confused you were before understanding something. You remember the mistakes nobody saw, the nights you doubted yourself, the times you needed help, the moments when you felt completely unprepared. But when other people look at you, they usually see the final result. They see the degree, the presentation, the successful project, the confident conversation. So you make a very unfair comparison. You compare your inside with everyone else's outside. Now there is another important psychological layer. Human beings naturally try to maintain a consistent picture of who they are. If somewhere deep inside you believe, I'm not really that intelligent, then a major achievement creates a conflict. Your mind has two pieces of information that don't fit together. One says, I'm not capable. The other one says, I just did something very capable. And instead of immediately changing the deeper belief, the mind may explain the achievement away with, I got lucky, the competition wasn't strong, anyone could have done it, or they just liked me. In other words, you don't deny the success, you change its meaning. And this is why simply telling someone with imposter syndrome, believe in yourself, often doesn't work. The problem isn't that they have never heard a motivational sentence. The problem is that their internal story does not match their external reality. They are asking a much deeper question. If I am actually good enough, why don't I feel good enough? And sometimes this becomes especially strong when you enter a new environment. Think about starting a university, joining a new company, giving your first public presentations, or entering a room filled with highly experienced people. Suddenly, everyone appears smarter and more confident than you. But perhaps nothing is wrong with you. Perhaps you have simply entered a room where you are still learning the rules, and obviously, there is a huge difference between being inexperienced and being an imposter. An inexperienced person says, I don't know this yet, while an imposter says, because I don't know this, I must not belong here. That distinction can change the way you see yourself. And One more thing worth understanding is that imposter syndrome can become particularly painful for ambitious people because the higher they climb, the more unfamiliar situations they are encountered. At every new level, there are people who knows things you don't. If your self-worth depends on always appearing competent, every new challenge feels like a threat to your identity. You don't simply fear making a mistake, you fear what the mistake might say about you. But making a mistake does not prove that you are a fraud. It proves that you are a human learning something difficult in real time. So perhaps the goal is not to reach the stage where you never feel like an imposter. Perhaps the healthier goal is to become someone who can hear their voice without automatically believing it. You can feel uncertain and still be capable. You can be nervous and still be prepared. You can be a beginner and still deserve to be in the room. Because sometimes the person standing outside the door saying, I don't belong here, is not an imposter at all. They're simply a person standing at the edge of growth. Part 2. When success becomes something you have to prove. Well, let's go one level deeper because understanding imposter syndrome isn't enough. We have to understand why it becomes so powerful in some people and why, more importantly, how to stop living under its influence. One of the biggest reasons is perfectionism. And from the outside, a perfectionist can look disciplined, ambitious, and highly responsible. But sometimes underneath that high standard is a very human fear, which is if I make no mistake, nobody will discover that I am not good enough. That changes everything. Because healthy excellence says I want to improve this, but a fear-driven perfectionism says I must get this right. Otherwise, people will see that I don't deserve my position. The first attitude creates growth, the second creates pressure. And this is why some people prepare endlessly before doing something. They keep studying, rewriting, checking, and waiting for the perfect moment. It looks like preparation, but sometimes it is actually protection. If you never submit the work, you will never have to face criticism. If you never apply for the opportunity, you will never have to face rejection. If you never start the business, you can continue believing that you could have succeeded. And potential feels wonderful because it has never been tested by reality. And lastly, let's also discuss a deeper problem when achievements become connected to identity. Maybe you grew up being known as the intelligent one, the successful one, the responsible one. Slowly, achievements can stop being something you do and become something you believe you are. Then a mistake doesn't simply mean I made a mistake. It starts feeling like maybe I am not who I thought I was. This is exhausting because life constantly gives us situations where we don't know enough. We perform badly or we need help. No human being can maintain perfect competence forever. So in such situations, what do we do? How do we solve this problem? First, stop treating every feeling as a fact. You can feel inadequate without actually being inadequate. You can feel nervous without being unprepared. You can feel like you don't belong while actually having earned your place. Feelings are real, but they're not always accurate conclusion about your reality. When that inner voice says everyone is better than me, don't immediately argue with it by saying no, I am amazing. Instead, ask a better question, which is what is the actual evidence? Second, start collecting evidences of your growth. Exaggerated affirmations, but real evidences. Remember the things you once found difficult but can now do comfortably. Remember the problems you solved, the skills you learned, the moment when someone trusted you with responsibility, the difficult conversations you handled, the failure to survive. Your mind may naturally remember your weakness more vividly. So sometimes you have to deliberately remind yourself of the full picture. And perhaps the most important shift is this. Stop making confidence the condition for action. Many people think once I feel confident, I will apply, speak, lead, create, or take the opportunity. But confidence often comes from action, not before it. You act while uncertain, discover that you can handle the situation, and that experience becomes evidence. Evidence slowly create trust in yourself. You don't need to tell yourself, I can do everything. A much healthier belief is, I may not know everything, but I can learn, adapt, and handle what comes next. That is a stronger kind of confidence because it does not depend on being perfect. And finally, stop asking yourself every few minutes, do I belong here? Ask instead, what can I contribute here? The first question keeps your attention trapped inside yourself. How am I performing? Do they like me? Do I sound intelligent? What if they notice my weaknesses? The second question moves your attention towards the world. You start listening, helping, solving, learning, and participating. And strangely, that is often when the feeling of being an imposter becomes quieter. Think back to the person standing outside the room, afraid to enter because everyone inside seems more capable. Maybe they finally walk through the door. They don't suddenly become fearless. They still don't know everything. They still make mistakes, but instead of interpreting every mistake as a proof that they don't belong, they begin treating it as an information. They learn, they ask questions, they improve, they contribute, and months later, they walk into the same room and realize something beautiful. That the room did not become less intimidating, they became more comfortable, being imperfect inside it. And that may be the deepest lesson of imposter syndrome. You do not have to become the smartest person in the room to deserve your place there. You do not have to eliminate your every weakness before you're allowed to grow, and you certainly do not have to prove your worth every time you succeed. Your worth is not an examination you have to pass again tomorrow. Sometimes you are not an imposter, sometimes you are simply standing in a place that is bigger than the version of yourself you have known until now. And that discomfort you feel, it may not be evidence that you don't belong. It may be the evidence that you are becoming someone you haven't learned to recognize yet. Thank you so much.